Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys' support, most definitely. I've loaded in here to Muravanka. I'm in my Type 64, and we are in a 357 in a relatively low tier battle. Type 64 is a fantastic scout, and as a top tier, I would say it's verging on OP. This is a great setup for this tank, but what we're going to talk about here is not necessarily scouting or the Type 64, although you'll see it perform pretty well. We are going to talk about here prioritizing the threat and fighting more than one tank at a time. So one of the critical skills in this game as you start to get good is being able to fight more than one axis of threat or more than one tank. Ideally, you don't get into a position where you're sandwiched or you have a multi-axis threat to your tank, but sometimes that ends up happening. And the question then becomes, how do you fight it? The key is to prioritize the threat. Find out the side or the tank that needs to die first, and then move from there. As the movie, what was the Mars movie called? Whatever it was, with Matt Damon, is that what it was? Solve one problem, solve another problem, and eventually you get to live. So we'll talk about prioritizing. That was a mistake, knocking down a tree. I should not have done that. That just lets them know that somebody is moving up right there. This bush is a fantastic initial spot, especially if you have any kind of depression. I should have just fired and backed up. I gave away a hit I did not need to give up there, just so I could ensure I got one shot in. And this is not the time to just make trades for the sake of making trades. So priority. 37's down there, the 67's on my side, but we've got to now get rid of this guy. For whatever reason, he has decided to YOLO in, which is going to end up being very good for us because he's one of their better tanks for sure. And it's just dopey to go moving in like that, but he ends up dying quickly because of it, and one dead. So there's one priority. That's pretty easy. Anyone could really figure that out. Somebody rages in, kill him. So I've got a 3J coming up here. I know I've got the 37 down below, and there's a 67 around me as well. So the priority is these guys in front. Not really multi-axis yet. I'm doing all right. Take a shot on him. He misses. I'm going to knock down this building. One thing to watch out for with the Type 64 is you don't have a whole lot of ammo to knock stuff down with. So you do have to be careful when you're using it for that. And that goes into the dirt, unfortunately. And now I'm checking 6. I knew there was some other tanks up there. I didn't know where the 3J went. I knew that 67 was somewhere. So about the time I'd taken a couple shots, I'm going to check 6 because I feel like they're probably going to come up behind me. And this is where the multi-axis thing begins. Oh crud. Yep, there we go. He's after me. Alright, that's the threat. That guy's got to go. Just rock as best I can. We'll take him down. Very good. Now I'm just going to back up. 3J needs to go. I'll put a little shot into his turret and move. Back up. He's on a reload. I know I will out-reload him, and I move up. Oh, cow. Next threat. Next closest croc to the boat. Let's get rid of him. Thank you, friends. And now we have survived that. So there you go. Prioritizing targets. Sometimes it feels a lot like I'm just trying to survive if I'm actually prioritizing, but there is a thought process there. I'm going to take a shot on him, go around him, and unfortunately that was very ill-advised to push down into that guy. I should have just backed up. I get pretty lucky there because I end up killing him. The 67 missed me with what would have been a kill shot, and I end up surviving. So while I do a pretty good job initially, then I just kind of YOLO forward. I knew there were enough TDs and tanks of theirs left that I didn't need to do that, so definitely a mistake right there. But it is interesting how a little aggression will sometimes go a long way. I'm able to go around, circle, kill that guy off. I survived the 67, granted with some luck. But I am now on a one-shot, so I do have to be careful. And we have not won this thing by any means. I am allowing that Sturb 74, who has a lot more hit points, go up and maybe try to find them. There goes their Su-85. Let's see what we got. I've come up here. I'm not spotted. Oh, very good. I'll get another kill right here. And, nope. Nice job, Sturb. You got him. Well done. And they've actually cleaned up shop over on the west side while I was goofing around hiding in a tree. Now that's something that happens as a small side note. If you give up enough hit points or you're a one-shot, it limits your opportunities to do things. So I felt like I wasn't able to move around as much as I would have liked to. So if I had not pushed out there and eaten those shots on a couple occasions, I might have actually been a little further along in this game. As I move up, I'm going to avoid going through the cap. I don't do that unless I absolutely have to. Thank you, RNG. The double RNG. Not only did I hit him, I ammo racked him. Wigging, zigging, zagging. Please don't shoot me. Holy cow, did he still see me? He must have. Must have still seen me, so I got lucky right there. Ah, yep, there he is. Coming in here and smack, that guy's dead. We end up with 6 kills, quite a bit of damage for the tier battle that it was, but a pretty good example of prioritizing threats, moving from one problem to the other, keeping SA on multiple axes, and that is something you're going to need to do if you're going to want to be an aggressive player. I'm not saying it is the best idea always, it certainly is not, but if you get yourself into that situation, or the situation gets itself to you, then there's a good example of some techniques and ways to handle it. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe if you did, and we will see you.